So, welcome to the Revolutionary Pod, episode 11. Um, you know, Solo episode today because there's a lot to discuss. So Trump just finished his trip to the Middle East. He was welcomed like a prince. To be honest, they threw a flip in all these ceremonies for him. I mean, I saw some women like shaking their hair in the UAE, even though it's meant to be a country to preserve women's modesty and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just the hypocrisy is crazy. You have to remember that these guys were welcomed with such open arms into Saudi Arabia, into the UAE, into Qatar. But the Trump administration is actually the most pro-Israel in history. It's actually the most pro-Israel administration in recent times. They gave more green lights to Netanyahu than Biden can ever dream of. They made the Abraham Accords. They flipping moved the capital of Israel. They said it's Jerusalem. They moved the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem. Trump removed so many sanctions on sellers and stuff. And obviously the AI video, just the AI generated video of ethnic cleansing. Just welcome Trump with open arms. Give him as the UAE president. Just give him the honor of Zayed, or just give him a gold chain. Just give him a gold chain. After he's posting ethnic cleansing videos of Muslim people right next to you, in the country right next to you. So normalization with the Trump administration is like normalizing with Israel. This Trump administration is so severe that normalizing with them is so criminal. Um, it's so it's so disgusting that I don't even know what to say to these people, let alone giving them a $1 million chain, gold chain, just welcoming them, showering them with gold, showering them with investments. We're not talking billions, we're not talking millions, we're talking trillions of dollars that these countries are investing. Just invest into the US, which is directly providing Israel with money to, turn it into it's just right now it's like an apocalyptic wasteland basically. While they live in like while the Saudi people and the Gulf people live in like 30-25, they live in like modern ultra luxury. The people next door are just starving. And people saying Trump is cutting off Israel. He's having arguments with Israel, and I don't think that's true, man. I don't think he's ever gonna stop unconditionally supporting Israel. I mean, yeah, I mean, as Netanyahu said, he's been the greatest friend to Israel in the White House, and I think he'll continue to do so. Just because he didn't bring them to the Gulf meeting, what the fuck does that mean? Like, they've got their own interests as well. They've got dual interests. So all these rumors about them falling out, I don't know how true they are, but all I know is that they're gonna probably keep supporting them unconditionally. So yeah, this dystopian meeting where Elon Musk, all these tech CEOs, all these pro-Zionist tech CEOs were just clapping in Saudi Arabia, clapping for Trump, showering him with compliments and gold while he posts AI generated videos of Gaza being ethnically cleansed next door. MBS could not give a shit about Gaza, obviously, and they're just profiting from the Hajj money, and yeah, just using that money and just keeping it for themselves while the Ummah is currently in crisis. And that's the title of this episode, Ummah in crisis. The Ummah really is in crisis. And if this continues to go on, then we really will have some sort of radical divide in the Islamic community. And the Islamic community was meant to be, as one, uniform body. Um, and that's what made it unique to other religions, is that um, unlike Christianity, unlike Judaism, it's this unconditional support for Muslims all around the world. Um, and now these clowns like MBS and MBZ and these leaders are just really putting that at a major risk. They're putting that at a major risk. So MBZ and MBS, they just welcome Trump. They just bring him in. They showered him with gifts. while next door people are starving to death. They are being bombed, decapitated. Children, kids, journalists, medic workers, or everyone is just being starved to death while these people are, enjoying ultra luxury lifestyles. I don't know if the Prophet, Muhammad Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, would have said this. What would he have done? What would he have done if he saw that? If he saw what was going on, what would he have done? Like, genuinely, would he have, like, I don't know. I don't know, man. Okay. I mean, these Gulf leaders, they don't care about Gaza. They find it a nuisance. They just want to do their business deals. And it's just, it's in the back. These meetings are just happening in the backdrop of, like, dead children. They don't want to they don't want to think about that. That's something that they just don't want to deal with, and it's unfortunate because these guys are, like, just total sellouts at this point. Um, many people have told me, that that the West, many people from Gaza have told me that the West are helping them more than the Arabs. They're telling me that the West stands up for us more than the Arabs. The West are allowed to have protests. Spain just cut off Israel. They just called it a genocide. You know what I mean? And then um, there's people like Saudi Arabia and UAE who just continue to live in ultra luxury, while next door people are being starved and bombed uh, beyond existence. Even worse and more bombs than Hiroshima. Um, and they're saying that that's it. We're, like, done with the Arab world. They're done with the Muslim world. They're even saying, like, they're gonna start appealing to non-Muslims. So do you see how much people like MBZ, MBS, and these cowardly scholars and this whole network of madkhali systems are just keeping this vicious cycle going that's actually gonna completely collapse the whole ummah, the whole 2 billion people. Um, it's just crazy. Like, even Spain and other Western countries are doing more, which is crazy because the Western countries are meant to be supporting Israel, you know, and these guys are not doing anything. Um, and you have people like Mufti Mank, who's looked up to by all celebrities, all people. The Ummah just thinks he's an amazing guy. You have all these popular celebrities like Mufti Mank, who's tweeting things like, I never thought human beings in this day and age would actively unalive entire communities. He's not even using the word killed, genocided. He's saying unalived, and he's saying that, like, yeah, all this for strategically located land. He can't even say Israel. He can't even say killed. And if you actually go on his tweets, people in the comments were going through his tweets. Um, he has not mentioned Israel once in 12 years. He hasn't mentioned it once in 12 years. Why? Because he's controlled by his masters in Saudi Arabia and UAE, who he, always visits. And, it's like a spokesperson for, just so these people can just see the celebrities, see the boxing fights, go on your fucking holidays, just so, that's all they want to do. And yeah, he's controlled by them. And then, and actually, he was, Mufti Menk was also seen in a iftar 3 years ago in the UAE with a Zionist rabbi. So he was hanging out with the Zionist rabbi, taking pictures with the Zionist rabbi. Zionist rabbi, one of the top actual normalizers of Israel, with the Arab states. And yeah, he was just with him celebrating. Obviously, when he was confronted about that, he denies it, saying it's spreading hate and it's misconstruing the image or whatever. And yeah, these are these are the heads of the ummah. People like Mufti Mank. These are the people that celebrities look up to. Um, People endorse, people, all these Instagram influencers look up to him, and these are the people we've elected. People who can't even say Israel. People who can't even denounce it as a genocide, let alone make some. We're not even asking you to create a movement to fight against Israel. Where they're just they can't even say the word. If they can't even say the word, then how fucked are we? Extremely fucked. So yeah, and he's like, yeah, just don't spread hate. This is don't judge anyone, don't spread hate. That was his excuse, and it's just, in my opinion, it's just pure clownery. Yeah, and I mean, he loves to say things like, he loves to say things like, oh, the heart bleeds. The heart bleeds, and we cry for Palestine. He loves to say that, and he has been saying that a lot recently. And yeah, the heart bleeds, and make dua and make prayer. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but all I'm saying is that when it comes to actual political action or any movement, no, that's just out of our scope. It's just we can't really do that. We can't really do any of that. It's haram to be political. It's haram to be political. Um, yeah, I mean, if the Prophet, peace be upon him, saw the UAE and Saudi Arabia right now, when Saudi Arabia and these Gulf states are living in ultra luxury, more luxurious than the West, and next door in Palestine, people are living in apocalyptic scenes never seen before. Live stream Holocaust, live stream genocide. The live stream genocide is being watched by these people. If he saw what was happening, what would he do? Tell me, what would he do? Like, what would he actually do with these people? It's insane to me. And they Saudis say that they can't do more. They can't do more. Um, they just can't do more. They live in ultra luxury, but I guess they can't do more. Even though the Yemenis are like the poorest country in the world, and they still manage to put in some work. Um, Even though the Palestinians were digging these tunnels with their hands, with their fucking nails. But I guess Saudi Arabia can't do more. I guess the UAE can't do more, man. And this is the type of rhetoric that these pro UAE, pro Saudi people say. What can we do? What can we do? You can do something. You can do anything. You can cut off the oil. Remember when one of the Saudi kings, I think it was King Fahd, he cut off the oil. Um, you know, he cut off the oil, and guess what happened to the oil? Oil prices in America fucking surged, bro. They quadrupled. Just from Saudi Arabia, restricting oil to Canada, US, for siding with Israel. And unfortunately, we don't have any good Saudi leaders like that, because they can't, let alone move an army. They can't even restrict oil. You know, because if they restricted oil, if these Gulf states actually restricted oil, they would take a hit to their quality of life. But at least they're supporting their brothers and sisters. But they don't even want to do that. And they don't understand how much of a big impact. We're not saying go die. We're not saying go fight. We're saying just restrict the oil. But they can't even take a small hit to their ultra luxurious lives. This is how greedy these people are. It's out of this out of control. And so and the original story of the Prophet, peace be upon him, was he was fighting these people called Quraysh. Okay. He was fighting these people called Quraysh, who were exactly like who, okay, I don't, that's a strong statement, but what I'm trying to say to you is that he was fighting people called Quraysh, right? And these Quraysh, they used to, follow a fake religion that they themselves did not even believe in. And they used to use the money from the pilgrimage of the people who used to come to this religion, and just keep it for themselves and just be rich. So they used to spread fake religion and profit off it, you know? And they didn't actually care about the religion. They didn't care about anything. And isn't that what Saudi Arabia is doing now? Saudi Arabia does not practice any Islamic values. They own slaves. They don't support the Ummah. They're greedy. They have the most class divisions in history. They're ultra rich, while the ultra poor exists, which is exactly what the Prophet, peace be upon him, done. He actually, um, he actually, um, he actually, what's that word? He diminished class structures. He actually reduced these class structures, and these people, the modern Saudi Arabia, are behaving exactly like Quraysh. They're taking the money from Hajj, and they're investing it in people like Donald Trump. They're putting $1 trillion into Donald Trump, which is the country that's funding the bombs used to blow up Muslim women and children. So these guys have actually reached a level that's even Quraysh wouldn't even do. Like, the Quraysh was corrupt, they were disgusting, they would spread corruption and stuff. And now people like people like MBS, people like that, they live in ultra luxury, they live in ultra richness, they live in ultra lavishness, while the people in Gaza live in apocalyptic times. So all I'm saying is that there's something wrong with this, and this corruption by the Gulf states is something that needs to be stopped. And when King Faisal actually restricted oil, the prices quadrupled. So I guess they can't. I guess Saudi Arabia and UAE, they just can't restrict oil. They can't restrict oil. They can't put military pressure. What can they do? Oh, they can only put 1.2 trillion into America. Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And this corruption from the Gulf countries. Okay, this corruption from the Gulf countries. These Arab leaders' complicity. This ultra divide. This corruption from the Arab countries is only maintained. This system is only maintained by the scholars that continue to be complicit and participate in it. You have ultra sellout. You have ultra sellout scholars that keep this vicious cycle going. By saying that, like, you can never boycott. You can never protest. You can never go against the ruler, no matter how corrupt he is, no matter if he's making deals with Israel, no matter if he's funding genocide. You can never go against them. Because why? Because apparently it's haram to go against the Muslim ruler. Oh, okay. So if he's putting in money and being complicit and letting many women and children die, I guess you're just not allowed to protest against it. I guess that's according to the top scholars of Saudi Arabia, and this is the kind of cycle that keeps these people brainwashed, and it has to stop. It has to stop. And these scholars, we can name them. Like Sheikh Asim Hakim, who says you cannot protest against a ruler, no matter how corrupt or a tyrant he is, even if he makes normalization with Israel. Of course, that's just not allowed. So I'm assuming if you say someone, if so, we can agree that making normalization with Israel is an act of kufr. We can safely assume that. But apparently, if you make takfir on someone, you're making takfir. Oh, now you're being a khawarij. Oh, now, and it's this gaslighting. That's like out of control. It's like they make you seem like you're crazy. They make you seem like you're crazy, and then and then when these scholars like Sheikh Asim Hakim get confronted, he's like, "Oh, what did you do, my friend?" Oh, when they're confronted about asking, why the scholars silent? Why aren't they doing much? He's like, "Oh, but what did you do, my friend?" "Oh, you criticize the scholars." "Oh, okay." So look at this gaslighting that he's trying to do. He's saying, "Oh, but what did you do?" But he doesn't understand that he's a scholar with so much influence, so much power. But I guess I guess that's just not important, because that doesn't mean anything for him. Doesn't mean anything, Apparently these scholars, they can only do so much. They don't have enough influence to say, go everyone go and fight for Palestine. Everyone go and put real economic sanctions, not just boycotting Coke or whatever. Apparently that's just unrealistic. What did you do? What did you do? It's not like I'm a scholar with so much so much influence and power that they boast of. They boast of. This is their words, not mine. And what's so crazy is that these protests love to micromanage. You know, is music haram? Is can I eat almonds after sex? All this bullshit, all this bullshit. But when it comes to actual things, for the ummah, it's like they're nowhere to be seen. It's like, why do they love to micromanage people's lives, and they love to spread things like, oh, Asim Hakim is like, oh, wife is not allowed to refuse intimacy if she doesn't feel like it. So basically, literally, just straight up saying saying rape apologist, being a rape apologist at this point. But no, but that's not allowed. But if MBS, invests 1.2 trillion into killing women and children, that's allowed. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Um, and then you have people like Sheikh Sudais, you know, who love to say that protesting is haram, and says that do not get involved in in things that don't involve you. Politics is haram. No, you're not allowed to talk about politics. Meanwhile, people in Saudi Arabia, they're having concerts. They're dancing. They're having concerts, and he's just saying, he obviously hasn't said anything about that. Obviously, he says concerts is haram back in like previous fatwas, but now it's happening. He can't do much. It's the ruler. You have to respect the Muslim ruler, MBS, who's definitely 100% not a Muslim. Um, so you have to do things like that. Um, yeah, it's just none of their business. It's just not, but don't protest. But don't protest, guys. Make sure, like, protest. Make sure that doesn't happen. About concerts, oh, I'll just turn a blind eye to that. I'll turn a blind eye to that. And I'm not even saying concerts shouldn't be allowed. I'm progressive in that sense. But again, it's these people like Uthman al Khamis, who's not the worst, but he loves talking about Iran and Shia and how Hamas has placed themselves into Iranian hands. He loves to talk about that. But he obviously doesn't care when his own leaders meet with Iran, when Kuwaiti leaders meet with Iran, when Saudi leaders meet with Iran. He doesn't give a shit. Obviously, he's promoting sectarianism, in times where unity is needed. When unity is so needed, um, he promotes sectarianism. He says never do deals with Iran, but apparently you're allowed to make deals with America. Oh, so you're allowed to make deals with a country that's not even Muslims, Christian, secular, atheist, America, but you're not allowed to make deal with the Shia. You're not allowed to. Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you're not allowed to be with the Shia, but you're allowed to make deals with actual kuffar who are genociding your brothers and sisters. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, Uthman Khamis. Really amazing, man. Amazing. Um, and you have people like a Roheli who, just say that women is a man's property, but protests are haram, revolts are haram, but women are a man's property. And I don't understand where this like oppression of women thing comes from in Islam. Are we forgetting that the Prophet, peace be upon him, was ultra progressive when women's rights in early Arabia, when he regressive, you know. Um, Al Islam actually, while a lot of people might think that Islam is a patriarchal religion, actually it's if there's any religion out of the three Abrahamic religion that's not patriarchal, it's Islam. Why? Because Islam does not treat Allah like the father, like Christianity and Judaism does. They don't treat him like the father. The Prophet Muhammad was an orphan. Do you understand? It doesn't push this patriarchal kind of rhetoric. So these people who are saying that rape is allowed, or people like Roheli who said women is a man's property, and if she disobeys him, she's a kafara. These people are deviants. These people are rats. These people are viruses. These people are infiltrating our society, the Islamic society, in ways that we've never seen before. Um, we need to not forget that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was ultra progressive when it comes to women's rights. So he was not conservative when it comes to women's rights back in the day. So how are you doing that now? It's like they forgot all the teachings. And people like Roheli have said multiple times that he would love to make jihad. If there was an opportunity to make jihad, I'd make jihad. However, he does say that it's haram to make jihad in Palestine. So he says he'd love to make jihad, but it's haram to make jihad in Palestine. That makes a lot of sense, Mr. Roheli. So he's basically saying if you go to Palestine and you leave your land and you go and fight for them, then it's haram. Oh, okay. Really good, Roheli. Really good. I'd love to know. Yeah, it's just these payroll scholars are just unbelievable, and these people eat them up. Like the majority of the population eat these scholars up, bro. Because I don't know why. I genuinely don't know. These people are damaging the Ummah in ways I've never seen before. And this was said by Yahya Sinwar. He was like "Sataftahu hadhihi al-Madina." He said this town will reveal everything, and it did. It revealed the collaborators. It revealed the normalizers, the complicit, the hypocrites, the contradictors. It revealed everyone, and I have problems with Hamas. Before you come for me, I'm not saying Hamas is perfect, but these people have been exposed. They've been exposed. So just we need to look at these Gulf countries, and we need to look at the system they have between the scholars and the deals that they have, that keeps this cycle of complicity going, that keeps the genocide going, that fuels the genocide. And we need to boycott UAE. We need to shame people who go to UAE. We need to, we need to call the kuffar like they are. These scholars are kuffar. These leaders are kuffar, because, and I'm not saying this lightly, I'm saying these people are actively damaging the Ummah. If you're actively participating in genocide, if you're actively complicit in genocide, like these scholars are, which we just explained how they are, by continuing this power structure of the leaders, which allows the complicity, by doing that, then you are unconditionally, obviously, a kafir. Like there's no ifs or buts here. And by continuing to spread these false rhetorics, micromanaging people's lives, rape is allowed, all this bullshit is causing severe damage to the religion. So these people, we need to boycott the UAE. We need to boycott Saudi Arabia. We need to boycott all these scholars, and we need to tell them we need to create our own. The Muslim Ummah needs to understand this, and we need to turn on these people, because the moment we turn on these people is the closer we can get to actually freeing Palestine. So we have 2 billion. We're forgetting that we are people of 2 billion. The Israeli population is 11 million. And then people tell us, oh, but we can't do anything. But we can't do anything. But there's nothing we can do. There is a lot we can do. We have rich countries. We have power. We have intellectual property. Imagine being, an ummah of 2 billion of unconditional support, brotherly and sisterly support, and no one comes to help you when you're being massacred on a scale no one's ever seen. Like this genocide is really a scale that no one has ever seen. And I don't say this lightly. I mean, obviously the Holocaust was worse, but what I'm trying to say to you is that this is still really like something new. This robotic level of genocide, like where they just drone strike everything. It hasn't been seen. It's brutal. It's really a new phenomenon. It's not a joke. So yeah, boycott UAE, boycott Roheli, boycott all these scholars, shame them, in the comments, tell them, Gaza has exposed you. They're unconditionally kuffar, as I've said before. Yeah, and it's always people who love UAE. I'm going hijrah to UAE. Hijrah to UAE is a fucking joke, by the way. UAE is obviously loved, adored by people like Andrew Tate, rapists, soulless IG models, white people who at the same time hate Islam but love UAE. It doesn't make sense. Have you noticed that all these people who love UAE, the white people, they're kind of just, I'm not saying all of them are racist, but I'm saying that it does attract a crowd who kind of hate Muslims, but they just like UAE. You know what I mean? It's just such a disgusting country, to be honest. Okay, and these people, like Roheli, like these Gulf leaders, like the scholars, they don't have to step in. They don't have to step in Palestine. They don't have to back it. They don't have to support it. But don't consider yourself part of the Ummah then. That's it. You don't have to join in, but then don't consider yourself a Muslim. Because if you want to join, if you want to say, oh, we can't do anything while being ultra rich, or you want to support America with trillions, then you're complicit. You're complicit. Because imagine you actually had an Ummah of people who backed it. No one would have, this invasion wouldn't have happened in the first place. So, if there's one thing that actually makes Islam unique, it's that it's the Ummah. It's the fact that 2 billion people are unconditionally, back each other and kind of considers themselves as one big community. And when that fails, when that dies, the religion really becomes in a crisis. It's not a joke. And you have to understand what's causing this. And what's causing this is the leadership and the hierarchy and the system of scholars and the system of leaders. That's what's causing it, and that needs to be stopped. Okay, in order for us to unite the Ummah, we need to first divide. We need to say, okay, these guys are fucking up everything and they need to get out. Do you understand? Because these guys are really damaging the Ummah. And I'm not saying people in Saudi Arabia or UAE, the majority of the people are pro-Palestine. They they support it. It's just the leaderships and the hierarchies and this greed that's out of control. Saudi Arabia has become the new Quraysh. Yep. So, if anything, Islam was a religion of helping each other, without borders. So Muslims get oppressed in China, we help them. There's no race in Islam. There's no borders, there's no race, there's no class divisions. This is the ultra progressive nature of Islam that these conservative people, like to claim Islam is a conservative religion. That Islam is not a conservative religion by any means. Islam is a liberal religion. If the Prophet, peace be upon him, came and tried to liberate a town, tried to change the whole system, is that conservative movement? No, conservative means to conserve the current hierarchies. He changed. He's a revolutionary in that sense. But these people love to claim the conservative nature of Islam when Islam is, by definition, by its nature, a liberal religion. And that's why the Free Palestine movement is not completely, people like to say it's a humanist movement, it's just a liberal movement. It's not completely disconnected from Islam. There's an Islamic element in it. Even though Hamas was not perfect, they did kill innocent civilians and they should be condemned for that. But there was also some truth in what they were doing, the resistance, people, if people think that Islam is a conservative religion, then I swear to God they have it wrong. I'm not even joking. Even in, when the Prophet, peace be upon him, was liberating, Mecca and Medina, people were telling him, oh, but this is the system. This is how it's been all these years. This is how it's been all these years. This is conservative rhetoric that you hear today. Of when you try, change capitalism. They're like, oh, but it's been like that the whole time. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, was a radical liberal, and then people like to claim that Islam is a conservative religion. It's not. Do you understand? It really is not people have a completely different look. If anything, Islam was progressive racially. Was progressive women's rights. Obviously, there's some stuff that people might have practiced wrong, like slavery and stuff. That's all wrong. You know what I mean? It's not perfect, but all I'm saying is that when it first came in, it was a religion of no borders. Even more progressive than the West. It was even more progressive than the West. Obviously there was some stuff that, like slavery and stuff that were not completely eradicated, but definitely slavery rights were definitely improved, all that stuff. So yeah, when people like to argue that Islam is a conservative religion, they have no idea what they're talking about. How complicit are these scholars? How complicit really are they? And the answer is that they are very complicit, because without these scholars, you would not have the governments. You would not have the maintenance of the status quo, where the scholars say never, ever, 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 ever disobey the ruler. You would not have these rulers doing whatever they want, living in ultra luxury, being complicit, taking all the money for themselves, the greed and the lies being spread. Without these scholars, you would not have the leaders. Without the leaders, you would not have Israel's, unlimited aggression to do whatever they want. So it's only with this vicious cycle that keeps going is what's causing the genocide. So this needs to stop. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. And back to Trump. People think that Trump is like he's gonna solve things. And I did see Hamas interview where they were like, yeah, we are having direct talks with Trump, and we believe we might be able to reach a deal. I don't think he's gonna do much. Like, if you look at the AIPAC tracker, and the AIPAC tracker is really something out of the fucking Incredibles movie. When Mr. Incredible discovers like the truth on the laptop, you see the AIPAC tracker. Bro, it's like you don't fucking. It's like a dystopian movie. Like, oh shit, this guy's getting paid. Oh, this guy's on the payroll as well. Oh, the whole government's on the fucking payroll, and like everyone's on the payroll of AIPAC. Can you even imagine how much anti-Semitic conspiracy theories this is gonna cause? It's unbelievable. Like, everyone's on the fucking payroll. The lobbying is out of control. Everyone is controlled by AIPAC. The leftists, the Dems, and the Republicans. So you don't even have a two-party. You don't even have a two-party system in that sense. You just have a fucking. You have a singular party system basically. It's basically a dictatorship. I mean, you go into fucking. It's like, what's the difference between dictatorships in America? There's really genuinely not that much difference. You have oligarchs. You have lobbying. They control the news. You can't just be a normal news person and talk to Trump. Let's say you ask Trump a weird question, he'll gaslight you and be like, who are you with? Who are you with? You know what I mean? He'll fucking, Fox News, you turn on Fox News and it's like you're listening to North Korean propaganda just in America. Like, shit's gone gone nuts, you know what I mean? And Israelis, the Israeli society is absolutely fucking deranged as well. Like, it's just their genocidal mania knows no bounds. I mean, they have Israelis just like to, we kill babies. When they're interviewed on fucking, when you ask them on Omegle and you're like, yeah, like, what are you doing? It's like, yeah, we kill babies. Like, they like rubbing it in. And they're scared to go anywhere now, Israelis. And it should be like that. It should be like that. Like, I saw an Israeli say, like, who was being abroad and they were being harassed, by anti-genocide people, and apparently it was the scariest thing he's ever had in his life. That's how hard the war is for them. By the way, scariest thing they've had in his life. So and this is a good thing. They should be scared everywhere they go. Israelis should be harassed unconditionally everywhere they go, unless they're liberals and anti-Zionists. If they're actually anti-Zionist Israelis, that's fine. They're very good people in that case. Because you don't understand how hard it is to be an anti-Zionist in Israel. You get shamed by the whole society. You get cut off by the whole society. It's very difficult to maintain any normal any normal life when you're anti-Zionist in Israel. So the people that do that are brave. You know what I mean? Same with anti-Zionist Jews. Anti-Jews have been through a lot of persecution. To be an anti-Zionist Jew, you get called out. Jews have been through a lot of anti-Semitic persecution, and to not turn to Jewish supremacist state it does take a lot of like respect. So anti-Zionist Jews, anti-Zionist Israelis, they're very good people, but the pro-Zionist Israelis, pro-Zionist Jews, they need to be harassed unconditionally everywhere they go. Attack them, see like anything you do, just. You know what I mean? So yeah. And have you noticed that Israelis are always shooting at empty buildings? Like, if you've seen this war footage, they've always blowing up empty buildings. They're always shooting at nothing. Because they never actually felt the struggle of a real war. Like, they just don't know what a real war is. They don't know what real struggle is. They just come in and they just mow the lawn, which is actually a term used by Israeli military Israeli officials, and they just use drones. You know, I mean, it's just robotic genocide, as Alex Jones called it. Like robotic, it's just, yeah, it's just genocide with robots. Like people, they don't even experience anything. They press a button, yep, family wiped out. They press a button here, yep, family wiped out. Um, it's just, doesn't even make sense at this point. You know, even in the Ukraine war, apparently they're like recruiting kids who play video games to use these drones. Like that's the level of warfare that we've reached. No one really fights. It's only these, you know, and that's why when Hamas actually kill a few Israeli soldiers, it's like it's like how like you've had all this armor and training and weapons and everything, and you still getting smoked by these people. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? What the fuck are you actually doing? Um, and this is a very good question. It's how complicit is the UK in the Palestinian genocide? And the answer is very. So F-35s that are used to blow up families in Gaza, a lot of the parts are actually made in the UK. So without the UK parts, it would be very difficult for them to make the F-35. You know, and the other day people tried to, you know, protest against this. They went to like I don't know exactly where it was. I think it was like an arms factory or whatever in the UK that produces these parts. And then when they tried to stop this, you know, the UK government just said that, oh, there's just not enough evidence for it being a genocide. So the complicity of the UK and Kid Starver's government is very high. It should not be taken lightly. So, you know, when people tried to stop this arms companies, the UK government was just like, yeah, we don't really see a genocide. You know, they just tried to pervert the course of justice. They told all the judges, you know, make sure to say that it's not a genocide. You know, they could just bribe. They could do whatever they want. Power talks, you know, as we've mentioned many times. You know, they've just argued that there's no genocidal intent on Israel's part. And then you have people like, so when people went to this arms factory and protested, you know, these people at Palestine Action, the police came and they arrested them. And we need to talk about the complicity of the police. We need to talk about everyone who is complicit in this genocide. So in the future, in history, we can look at who was, you know, and we have the scholars, we have the journalists like Piers Morgan, we have police, you know, the police who arrest protesters, the police who defend politicians like Itamar Ben-Gvir, the police who are just doing their job. Yeah, if your job is to, you know, maintain the status quo of a genocide, then you are complicit in genocide. You have committed genocide. You have participated in that. So police need to stop turning their brain off, stop defending these people, because otherwise history and any future governments who ever take action, any future governments who ever say, you know, people are going to start getting arrested for this genocide, you might be next because you're protecting these people. You know what I mean? You're protecting these people. You're protecting people like Itamar Ben-Gvir. You're protecting these weapons companies, and you're protecting these politicians who are complicit in genocide. So you are complicit. If you are complicit with the complicit, then you are complicit. Like, and you know, it's not like you don't know. You know what I mean? You can't just claim that you didn't know. You know, of course, the genocide in Gaza is officially condemned by Western governments. It's officially condemned, you know, named a humanitarian disaster, whatever, aid needs to come in. But on the ground, it's silently tolerated. You know, the weapons keep getting sent, the money keeps getting sent. So the question is that why do these governments express like humanitarian sympathy but fail to do any actual concrete measures like weapon sales, you know, or like any sanctions or any, you know, any enforcement of international law? Why is it that they officially condemn it but then tolerate it in actuality? Well, we can see why from the very interesting Louis Theroux interview. The very interesting Louis Theroux documentary, where he interviewed that fucking witch, the godmother of the settlers, Daniela, what's her name? Daniela Weiss or whatever. She said something very interesting. She said, we do for the governments what they can't do for themselves, what they can't say in public. Basically, she's saying that the government needs to maintain a certain image where they don't actually say it's a genocide, or they don't actually say ethnic cleansing, but they want ethnic cleansing, but the settlers do it for them, and these guys silently tolerate it. The IDF supports them, the IDF defends them, but they don't officially. It's not official policy. So then they can claim that they weren't involved. They can claim plausible deniability. You know, the public face. They have the public face of, oh, humanitarianism. Yeah, we don't do ethnic cleansing, but then on the ground they're supporting them. So it's this network of lies, this web of lies that just creates a whole new fucking craziness. Yeah, I mean, you have people. So you have people who officially, even Itamar Ben Gvir, when people say, when he goes to his rallies and people say death to Arabs, he said, no, don't say death to Arabs. Obviously it's not like he cares about that. It's just he wants to maintain this public image of appearing like a politician. You can't say that shit in public, bro. You know what I mean? So they get the settlers to do the dirty work for them. They collaborate with the settlers, they defend them, but they don't officially say ethnic cleansing. So they have some sort of plausible deniability, and this cycle is exactly what the West is doing. The West officially the West does claim that they don't support Israel, they don't support what's going on with Israel. However, on the ground level, they continue the arms sales, they continue the complicity, they continue everything. And it's just to save face. That's all it is. It's just in order to save face, because if you actually didn't condemn what's happening, then you'd get, so much public outrage, and they just want to see how much public outrage they can get away with. It's kind of like they send bombs and then they send humanitarian aid right after. It's like, how does that even make any sense? You know what I mean? And you have people like David Mensa who come to the UK, the ambassador of Israel, whatever. I don't know what he is. And he says, I don't know how he's allowed to even talk on our news channels. I don't know how he's even allowed to walk the streets. Every policeman who defends this person is a war criminal. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Is complicit in genocide. So he says that people who were burning alive in Palestine are just Pallywood. Yeah, just it's Hollywood. He says the famine was fake. He says that the Gazans live a great life. The famine is just fake. And these people are allowed to walk our streets. They're defended by the police, and the police are ultra complicit in this. They're ultra complicit in genocide. They will not be forgotten. So yeah, it's just out of control, man. It's out of control. Yeah, I mean, and this brings us to, all this bullshit can go one or two ways. It can go one or two ways. We can actually heal this issue, get rid of the Zionist regime, stop the Zionist regime, or they can take a dark turn to anti-Semitism, which is really a real threat. Never ever forget that is actually a real threat. Kanye dropped a song called Heil Hitler or whatever. And, people are eating up. I mean, there's no outrage anymore to Hitler speeches. There's no outrage anymore to Hitler rhetoric. You can say fuck the Jews and you won't get that much hate. It's normal. It's just anti-Semitism is slowly becoming normalized. It's not totally there yet, but it's people like Kanye dropping these kind of songs, and then people like Joe Rogan, reacting to it, kind of laughing at it, kind of entertaining a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened to Kanye, man. I don't know what happened to him. He was once really talented and now he's just now he's just making songs with losers like fucking Sneeko, bro. I'm talking about Heil Hitler, talking about fucking Andrew Tate and shit. And it's like, I feel like the real Kanye is trapped in fucking ICE prison, and we need to go save him or something. Because this can't be the same Kanye that made the fucking Homecoming. This can't be the same Kanye, Yeah, I mean, he's just, I don't know what happened to him, bro. His brain is somewhere locked in a fucking ice, in a prison, we need to save him, man. So yeah, we've talked about كل المطبعين all the normalizers of this genocide, all these animals. Um, never forget that the complicity of them. So let's go through some clips right now, and see what's going on. Yep. Yeah, and I don't think Trump is getting anything for the people of the Gulf. He came in, he secured billions, he secured trillions of investment, and what did he give them back? I don't know. I don't know what I don't even know what the Gulf are begging. They're just at his feet. You know what I mean? They're just they're just begging him. Like they're just begging it so hard. It's just like it's become ridiculous at this point, bro. You know what I mean? Yep. I mean, Trump receives billions of dollars. Gaza children receive hundreds of bombs from the billions of dollars. So you're giving him billions of dollars, and you know that he's making the bombs. MBS. You know that he's making the bombs. So you think none of this money is gonna go towards bombs while you live in ultra luxury, you ultra pig? Like, it's just it's insane. To be honest, it's insane how much these Arab leaders have sold out. Um, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Hamas has many problems. However, does have many problems, but they are definitely the lesser evil in this situation. You know, they're actually even in these Hamas interviews, they seem like the voice of reason. To be honest, like they're talking about, yeah, we don't mind stepping out as long as you give the Palestinian people a state. Yeah, we don't mind giving back the hostages as long as you don't ethnically cleanse us. I mean, they're not even making any conditions now. They're just saying, okay, just don't ethnically cleanse us, and then we'll give you back your hostages. But Israel can't even do that. Um, so yeah, I mean, this town really, the Gaza really, really exposed the fakes, exposed the frauds, exposed the collaborators. Um, you know what I mean? And even the Prime Minister of Spain, even the Prime Minister of Spain has said it will not deal with a genocidal state. Has any Arab leader said that? This is what I mean. You leave these problems to the West. You leave these problems to the non-Muslims. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, or wrong with being non-Muslim. They can become Muslim later, or Islam is a universal movement. I'm just saying, when you leave with these people, when you leave these matters, our own matters, the people in the West, people are gonna start to leave Islam. People are gonna say, "What the fuck have these people done for us? What have they?" They probably won't leave Islam, but I'm saying that the Ummah is really incorrect. Like, it's gonna collapse. It's gonna collapse. You know what I mean? It's actually absolutely gonna collapse. And you have people like the UAE who love to ban the Muslim Brotherhood, who love to say the Muslim Brotherhood has done this, the Muslim Brotherhood has done that. And obviously, I know the problems with the Muslim Brotherhood. I'm not supporting them. I'm not saying I'm against them. I mean, I'm not saying I'm support them or whatever, obviously. But where's the same energy with Israel? These scholars, Sheikh Osman Khamis, I guarantee you he's talked more about Shia than ever said the word Israel. He has 100% talked more about Shia than about Israel. This is an absolute joke. Like, it's an absolute fucking joke, and it's purely echoing political interests. It's a joke, bro. While they shower Trump with gold. While they shower Trump with gold, the people of Gaza are dying in ways never seen before. Never seen before. Their impotence has really reached a new level, hasn't it? And people in Gaza are posting the last messages. Just yesterday, 260 died. A famous journalist died. They kill journalists, they kill aid workers, they kill everything, and these Gulf states and their complicity is out of control. Um, and many of these Gulf countries, have a lot of spokesmen that are pro Israel, pro UAE. You know, Amjad Taha, all these UAE people, they're like pro. You know, I mean, people in Gaza are now making their last. If you go on tweets, they're like their whole timeline is just their last messages. They're basically saying just last messages. Um, I mean, I don't even think this Trump administration is going to allow aid. To be honest, you know, the UAE is welcoming and Saudi Arabia is welcoming people like Marco Rubio, who's been so vocal about ethnic cleansing. Um, so vocal, and people like Pete Hegseth, who have a kafir tattooed on him. These people are being welcomed into Saudi Arabia, where I swear to God, the Prophet would be in shock. If he saw this, he'd be in shock. So yeah, I mean, and then you have people like Jolani, who's actually support. I don't know. I don't know what Jolani is doing, but I think I think he's gonna sell out soon. I think he's gonna sell out soon. Yeah, I mean, it's all these white supremacists who support the UAE. It's fucking disgusting. Um, Boycott UAE, boycott Saudi Arabia, boycott these scholars, and shame them in the comments. You are a kafir. Gaza the explorer, Gaza the revealer. Hashtag Gaza the revealer. You know, say it under all the comments of these scholars, under all the comments of these influencers, under all these people who say nothing. The Mufti Manks, the fucking all these scholars who say no political action. We need political action. We need radical political action, not just political action. Um, you know, it's just crazy, man. Um, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Just make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Um, yeah, we definitely need to make action. So yeah. Make sure to join, follow our social media, Twitch. We're gonna be streaming more. Join the Telegram group. Where we can converse. And yeah, it's been the Revolutionary Pod. We're out.